Always a pleasure to have you, Mr. Mahindra.
Likewise.
So M&M is the second big Indian automobile company to enter the United Kingdom. Of course, the Tatas did it through an acquisition, and since then we know the story. It's been a remarkable success for the Tatas. Now you're going to go in and you've set up your own wholly owned subsidiary here. Tell us a little bit in terms of your expectations, because many would say that the UK electric mobility market is actually on an upswing.
Yes, and as I would see it, the Tata move with JLR is a very different kind of genre of entry. As you said, it's a highly successful acquisition, but of a brand that was already in the hearts of people in the UK. The UK people see it as an iconic UK brand. Our task is a much tougher one, which is to somehow get the Mahindra brand to be endearing to the British public. And so what's significant about this is that we believe that if we're going to introduce the Mahindra brand here, probably no better way to do it than with something that is the epitome of 21st century mobility. So that if we succeed in this, then think about it, the Mahindra brand will be connected to modern, clean energy and to a highly evolved, digitally driven vehicle. It's a very virtuous kind of branding.
And the Mahindra brand name will then be viewed very differently from the way it's viewed here.
Whereas if we came in with our conventional products, and I'm sure we could do very well with those too, and in fact Europe has done well for us for the overall Mahindra conventional brand. But I think what we are really, if I have to be completely honest with you, what excites me is this opportunity to reshape the Mahindra brand through this launch and create a new perception de novo. It's almost a clean sheet opportunity for the Mahindra brand in the UK.
All right, because Tech Mahindra is already here in the United Kingdom. So
and that frankly is something that helps. If you're already known for being an IT company, then as you know today, it's almost as if IT and mobility are inseparable. They were separated at birth and they're just being joined again.
So are you hopeful then what the India market has, with what we have not been able to do so far as electric mobility is concerned, UK will be able to do that in terms of your ambitions for your electric mobility business?
Let me be honest again. We of course came into this field inorganically as well by acquiring Reva. Reva had targeted India. Of course, they were selling in the UK too. But when you look back at Reva, its success was in the UK. It was not in India. But since we inherited a brand and a facility in India, India is a home market. You work out all your challenges in your home market, and consumers have been very supportive in that. Early adopters for us have been from India. But I don't think we were under any illusion that given the pricing of batteries, that India would be the dominant market, because India is still an extremely price-sensitive market. So we needed to expand our market by going abroad, where we can in fact come in, as you saw today, at a price point that is lower, significantly lower than other electric vehicle players here. That opportunity in India didn't exist. A, because we were pioneers, there was no benchmark, and B, because we were constantly being compared to conventional fuel options, which unfortunately is not right in India. People are not looking at total life cycle cost of the vehicle, but that takes time. However, in the West, already ground has been covered and people are accustomed to judging the value of electric cars based on their total life cycle cost, and that will help us here.
Because while you patiently wait for that, for the upswing to take place in India, many would say that in UK it has already started. So maybe a year earlier, perhaps, for M&M, wouldn't that have been?
No, in fact, if you heard Minister Letwin, who came here today and very kindly raised a toast to us, he made this point. He said that we are at the tipping point. It hasn't been reached here yet. Sales have doubled almost, even here, of electric vehicles. But when you look at the potential, it's still something like 2% of the market. That's scratching the surface. They're expecting the electric vehicle sales here to reach almost 8% of the market by 2020. Enormous opportunity. So that tipping point is, we are right here, in my opinion, right time, right place.
But the government is also mulling removing the benefits by 2020. So in a sense, you're playing with, you have that 4-year window to really make that impact
I
because
agree.
once those benefits are phased out, then you're in a position to sell despite not having any.
I agree, but keep in mind that at the same time, what we hope will happen is that there will be an experience curve and a cost curve that batteries will ride down. So the most expensive component in this vehicle is the battery, which is why it makes it more expensive than other vehicles. But as you saw what happened in the solar PV industry, that the moment Chinese PVs drove the market down, solar almost came to grid parity in India. You can see and imagine the same thing. So yes, 4 years, we would love it to have been longer. But I think that the way that electric vehicles are taking off and the way battery production is going up, I imagine that the cost of electric vehicles is on a downward curve too.
And Bosch has also announced that in 2019 they will be launching a revolutionary battery which is half the weight, half the cost. So we need to wait and watch how that...
We're in a wonderful position. We're agnostic. We cheer on every developer of technology, and we will just pounce on the latest technology as and when it's available, and not make any commitment to any one particular technology that ties us down.
Is the evolution of the electric car industry also linked to the prices of the oil, for instance? Because last 1 year we've seen oil prices practically hit an all-time low. During those moments, I mean, do you feel that it might have an impact on, because then
It's only in a very temporary sense, and to be honest, that is not going to be the deciding factor in the future. One is that, as we explained to the media here today, the operating cost of this is negligible, of the electric vehicle. We told them that driving an E2O and owning an E2O would amount to something like £10 a month for the average British consumer. So it's negligible. So you have to compare the operating cost, and no matter where oil goes, even if it stays at this price, there is a substantial cost relative to EV players. So this becomes very attractive to consumers, but also to fleet owners. For the shared mobility industry, it's a no-brainer to move to the EV because of its very low cost. So then what's holding it back? It is the capital cost. Right. It's the upfront cost. For fleet owners, frankly, that's less of a problem because that's amortized over much greater usage of that car. It's a shared vehicle. But try and imagine when the capital cost comes down, as I told you it will due to battery technology, it's not going to matter what the oil prices are. You're going to be comparing zero cost here almost to some substantial cost, no matter what oil prices are.
So will you be reaching out to the Ubers and the Olas of the world, especially considering the fact that they are now promising, because many say the prices at which they are, actually they're offering their services is simply unsustainable, and perhaps they need to move to an electric car to make that pricing sustainable. So will you reach out to the Ubers and the Olas of the world? And
been there, done that, doing it as we speak.
Doing it as we speak. So what do we expect then?
No, I wouldn't preempt that. Let's see. I'll stay tuned.
Okay. All right. You made an interesting comparison with Tesla. And it's bound to happen. All right. Like comparisons will be made with Tesla because that's the big announcement that happened recently. And you said that you were the tortoise and they are the hares. Why don't you just expand on that? I'm not going to ask you a question on that. Expand on that for the benefit of our viewers.
Normally, we are very cautious about talking about competition, but the EV industry is such where you can't have a launch and not talk about Tesla. It would have been the elephant in the room. Is this a Tesla fighter? How are they going to do vis-a-vis Tesla? And unless you preempt that and deal with that elephant in the room directly, you're going to have people speculating on the wrong comparison. So the point I made here today was that, look, we are eternally grateful to Elon Musk for having turned conventional wisdom on its head and realized that early adopters in the EV industry were price insensitive. So whereas the Chetan Manis of the world earlier didn't become Elon Musk because they were trying to get early adopters to adopt because of cost and constantly talking about operating cost versus the other. And what Elon Musk did was very clever, was say that, look, early adopters, people who want to save the planet, have loads of money. Make a car that's aspirational, which they don't mind being seen in, and then you're going to get adoption. That's what his brilliance was. Now, having done that, we bow low. We are grateful to him because he suddenly made it cool to drive electric cars. But as I said today, if you're talking about saving the planet and getting rid of pollution, Tesla is not going to do that. What's going to do it is when more people drive cars like this, when they drive entry-level electric cars, when shared mobility providers like Uber switch to electric cars. And they will not do it with Teslas. They will do it with cars like this. So I just felt it was better to grab the bull by the horn, say, that's Tesla. We are grateful. They are going to have the tipping point. And so too will Formula E, which is why we are members. And I thanked Alejandro, who was the founder of Formula E and was here at the launch today. To me, he's as important as Elon Musk because he's making it exciting. He's telling people that electric cars are fast and fun to drive. The combination of those two things will get people interested. And then what will, as I said, turn the skies of Bombay blue again, cars like this.
So since you made that acquisition, Mr. Mahindra, are you perhaps most hopeful about the future of electric mobility than you have been in the past?
Absolutely. One word answer.